This one is guaranteed to be an interesting fix. I'll leave it at that. This machine has some issues. It's a Panasonic AGDS850, my favorite machine. No, it's not mine, it's somebody else's. I have one, I just haven't fixed mine. I may never get to it, but then again I might. But here's what I'm fixing for somebody else, and it's got a real strange problem. As you will see, it came in and they said it was dead, but it's anything but dead. This time I have a Panasonic AGDS850. This is a commercial Super VHS VCR. It might look familiar as I happen to have one. Although mine's not working. And mine may never work again. We've looked at mine. It needs all the capacitors replaced on the time-based corrector board and other video boards. And I just don't feel like doing it. Let me explain why. Because I know people are going to say, yeah, but that's a great machine. Well, it might have been a great machine, but these machines are extremely limited as to what they can do. Yes, they've got linear audio and hi-fi audio. Whoop-de-doo. I'm in the tape archiving business. I have tapes that come in various condition and various recording formats. And these machines only support SP. They will not play back a tape that's recorded in LP. They will not play back a tape that's recorded in EP or SLP. So as an archiving machine, for someone who archives other people's tapes, it's useless because the vast majority of people recorded their stupid home videos in the EP speed. You know, because you got to get 6 hours of little Johnny learning to crawl and the whole bit, right? You know, who cares about quality? Let's just dub those tapes onto VHS and the SLP speed or EP speed, and everyone's happy. Well, everyone's happy except for the guy trying to give a quality transfer from a tape that's absolute sheet to begin with, but I digress. This one's dead. Or so the claim is. They said it worked one day and it was dead the next. So let's see why. How foolish of me to try to put an angled plug in. No clearance. Okay, put a regular straight plug in. Let's see what happens. That's not dead. They told me this thing was dead. It's definitely not dead. Now, they didn't bring a power cord with it. But when I went to plug that angled plug in, it wouldn't plug in all the way. I wonder if they're trying to put an angled plug in on their side. It's not dead. We'll see what it does. We'll pop the top off it too and plug it into a monitor and see if we got a picture. Maybe there's something else wrong with it. But they did say it had no power. That was the complaint. No power. Looks like it's got power to me. Oh good, these screws are not loose like the last ones. The last machine I looked at that the screws are supposed to be fastened to, they weren't, and when I lifted up the cover, the screws went everywhere. So for those of you that forget what these things look like, well, they're ugly. Lots of surface mounted caps, which eventually I might actually do on mine. There's lots of conventional caps too, but a couple of the boards have got surface mounted caps on them. I might eventually do it. I haven't decided one way or the other. The reason I haven't done anything with it to date is only because I really don't have a use for it. I could, I guess, sell it, but it's kind of a cool machine with the jog shuttle dial and everything. Let's say hook this up to the monitor, see if it plays. It does say Panasonic on the screen. That part works. Well, that doesn't work. That's play. Watch what happens when I push play. Let's go ahead and fast forward. If I put it in a rewind, it unloads the tape, and the tape rewinds. Put it in fast forward. Again, it does it with the tape unloaded. Press play. It threads the tape up and immediately goes into fast forward unless I stop it. Oops. Now I can't even stop it. Press the stop button. It's still going. What the hell? It's runaway. I'm pushing stop. It's not stopping. Play. Fast forward, rewind. Pause. Nothing. Nothing's happening. I'm in shuttle 10 times reverse, and yet the tape is moving forward. That should be still, and it's not. And it's not stopping. I push the stop button. It's not stopping. Push rewind. Oh, now it's going to stop. Will it eject? Yeah, this thing has problems, and it's not that it doesn't power on, as they said. It's got some serious issues. This could be a very interesting repair. What do you guys think the problem might be on this one? This is a weird problem, this one. Now it's stopping. I got a freeze frame now. As soon as I start it to move, it takes off. And now it's locked up. And nothing works. Oh, the eject button actually worked. That's the only thing that worked. And it's been driven by the Capstan motor, so something has gone wonky on this unit. Something really weird. Could be a power supply problem for that matter. Could be a power supply issue. Or something in system control. All I know is it fast forwarded my tape from the beginning, and it's like it was running in fast forward, and it's being driven by the Capstan motor. The pinch roller is engaged, and everything's been driven through the Capstan motor. So something in system control has got a problem. Again, it could be power supply related too. It could be a voltage missing or a voltage incorrect, or something is certainly causing problems. I'm just looking at what cards do what. That's interface. Where's system control on this thing? This is system control. I don't have a different light. My other one broke. This is system control board. That's motherboard. I'm just going to look and see if voltages are there. Like, we'll look at things like the negative 12, things that I can identify. Negative 12, that's right. It's a 5-volt supply. What is this? Is that some corrosion on the board here? Regulators. Input minus 14. Output minus 12. That's a 12-volt regulator. Input minus 6. Output minus 5. I'm thinking it just from the symptom, it could very well be a power related failure. The fact that he said it didn't turn on initially, and of course when I got it, it turned on. Maybe there's a supply it's a bit out of spec, or something that came back just in transport, but now we've got another problem. This one here is a 12 volt supply, 11.7, that's probably pretty close. Always 5, that's 5 volts. That one's a switching point. Tracking switch, tracking control. Servo system control is here. Real servo is over here. For you yahoos that seem to think I don't know what I'm doing, remember, I don't have a schematic for this thing. I got to figure this out just from looking at the layout to figure out what circuits do what and where they are, because I don't have a schematic. Does that look like corrosion? Right in here, maybe not. Yes, it is indeed corrosion. Look at the area around C3 and C22. We get some damage here on this board. Of course, that's much more evident on camera than it was looking at it with the naked eye. Pin 1 of plug P3 also looks kind of flaky, doesn't it? I think I can swing this board down, remove the red screws. We'll take a look at the other side of the board, see what's on the other side. I'm just going to reseat all the plugs and connectors and see if anything changes. That Capstan motor is starting up on its own. You hear it running. Huh. Something loose? Is there a plug that's loose? Appear to be, but that thing's starting up on its own. I don't see any loose plugs. It's not spinning now, but it certainly was a minute ago. It plugs in with these connectors here, which plug into the board here. Make sure everything's pushed in all the way. Try loading the tape. I guess it doesn't want to load on its side. We'll just turn the unit upright and load the tape. There, now it loads. And it's playing. Do you think it was a connector that was loose? It's playing. Look, I'll show you the screen. I swear to God, you saw what I did. I lowered down the board. I pushed the connectors in because I thought maybe we have a connector that's misseated. And away it goes. Now, I don't know if someone was into this thing greasing it up or what. I mean, it looks like it's got some of the white lithium grease that's been put on a worm gear here, so maybe somebody was into this thing and they were doing some maintenance work and loosen the plug or something, but it is now working. Pause. Reverse search. Forward search. That's actually a pretty neat machine. This might be an inspire just to get me to get mine working just for the hell of it. You can sit here for hours and just go back and forth and play with the tape. Back to play. Okay, well that's good news. I mean, stranger things have happened, I tell you. I mean, these machines really aren't that bad, except for all the surface mounted caps on the TBC board and the video board. That's where these ones are really bad. These ones will never ever fail, right? These are all Panasonic quality capacitors, and Panasonic caps generally don't go bad. Panasonic was one of the companies that actually made very good capacitors, unlike companies like Nikon and Elna, which turned out absolute shit. But I have a sneaking suspicion it was one of these connectors, because when I pushed down, I felt this one here, I think it was. I pushed down and I felt it actually seat. So I think that's where our fault was on this and one of these ones here also, which comes off the power supply. When I pushed it down, I felt a couple of them kind of snap into place. So it looks like that's where our fault was on this one, was a bad connection, missing signal, missing voltage, something was missing. And I've just solved the issue. Something I will mention on this machine, if you haven't seen it already, but in addition to the balanced inputs and outputs for the audio, and you've got line in with the terminator either on or off, reference video, S video in, S video out 1 and S video out 2, but it also has component output Y, PB, and PR. So this can be fed using the component outputs into a component capture card, for example, like I have. My capture card's got component inputs as well as composite and S video and HDMI and the whole 9 yards. But a machine like this could go straight into a component input, which will give you, in theory, a better picture than S video will, because the red and the blue are in their actual component, even though VHS only has 30 lines or so of chroma resolution. So is it going to make a difference between capturing over S video or capturing over component? Probably not. Certainly off a standard VHS tape, it will not make any difference whatsoever. You can capture from monitor and it'll look fine. Presumably these ones are the same. Yeah, these ones are the same, just without the timing information. This one's got the counter, the time code, or control. Anyway, I'm going to throw the bottom on this one, and we'll do some more testing on it, because it appears that it's fixed. So I got the bottom back on it. I'm going to let this thing run for a bit. I'm not going to call the guy right away. I want to make sure that it actually is okay and that there's no problems with it. And we'll let it run. But these are kind of a beast. Go into search. See, everything's done through the Capstan, right? Oh. Okay. "32 times. 1/6, 1/8 reverse. And if you turn the little dial here by hand, You can go one frame at a time. It's a digital freeze. Okay, why is it not going now? Well, isn't that weird? And now the Capstan motor's not turning at all? What's going on? Gremlins! It stopped. Well, that is weird. And now it's going. Like, that was weird. Search. I can go one frame at a time. Forward and reverse using the jog dial. Right up to full speed, 32 times. And same as on reverse, up to 32 times. Back into play. That's weird. That it just sat there when I had it sitting in pause. I had it sitting in pause for like a minute, and when I went to start up again, it didn't do anything. And I just hit the stop button and went back into play, and away it went. Well, this is one that's going to have to sit and run for a while. That was weird. Is it going to do it again? Is there an intermittent problem with this machine? I guess anything's possible. I mean, these are pretty old machines. I'm going to rewind this tape back to the beginning. I'll hit rewind and it'll unthread and rewind back, and I'm going to let this tape play. So there it goes. It does a half load on these. They rewind pretty quick. Okay, tape's rewinding back to the beginning. When it gets back to the beginning, it should automatically thread, I believe. It'll rethread itself. Yep, it does. It goes in the loaded position. I'll hit play. I'm going to let this thing play. And we'll monitor it for a while. On the front, you've got audio and tracking level controls. So you notice that meter, that's the tracking. So you track for maximum RF, and there'll be a switch on here, I believe, to switch it over. And of course, you have to remove this little cover to do that. You got to undo this cover because they don't want other people getting into here and switching, so that you can have your audio meter on there or your video tracking. Audio monitor, meter normal or hi-fi, right? Audio out, hi-fi or normal. S-video or line in. Digital noise reduction on and off. Digital slow off. Let's put it on. So we'll pause. Let's put the digital slow on. See what it does. What difference does it make if I turn it off? Let's see here. Oh. Looks better, I think, with it in off. Mode 2. Slow motion looks better with it off than with the digital on. The digital on makes it look all, well, it doesn't look as good. Also, you've got on here menu down. Menu, time-based corrector set, and memory auto stop off, auto cut out, local or remote control. That is, I guess, for editing. Different settings. If I switch this down to audio, now we're seeing the audio channel here for the audio hi-fi or normal audio. So you can select normal audio or hi-fi audio for the output or for the meter. And all this had this little cover that you put over there so that operators couldn't flick switches without removing the cover. Monitor audio, channel 1, channel 2 are mix, hi-fi, or normal. That's for the audio monitor. So there's a separate output on the back for audio monitor, and then there's the audio out where you can select normal or hi-fi. That's what that's for. Okay. As I say, maybe someday I will get into my machine again. Not going to give you guys any type of indication as to when I might get onto the one that I've got again, for the reasons I've already stated. It would just be a toy, a project. It's the same as that BR605, which I already did. I already got that one working. By putting some capacitors. Oh, why did it shut off? It just stopped while playing. Oh, what's going on here? It just stopped, but I saw the reels stop there momentarily. This thing still has a problem. Is it a Capstan motor problem? It seemed like the Capstan motor stopped. Let's just observe. Like it's not slipping. Keep this in mind. A lot of this type of work is observation. You have to watch things when they're intermittent. You got to watch them and see what they're doing. What's the symptom? In this case, the Capstan motor is stopping. Let's give it a bit of a tap there to see if something will kick out. Maybe a bad connection. But it doesn't appear to be. Like I saw that unit stop. And almost like it went into slow motion when it did it. That was me. I just did that. There. I'm not doing that. It's doing that on its own. It just stopped on its own. And then went into a shutdown with the code E5. Whatever E5 means. And everything's locked up now. Nothing works, only the power button. Turn it off. Turn it back on. It unloads the tape and then reloads it. This thing may have a Capstan motor that's bad. You know that? The very fact that when I first had it apart and it took off at like 100 miles an hour, going to pull the bottom again and check the connections where that Capstan motor plugs in. Something to do with that, I'm sure. I don't see anything jumping out at me and saying it's bad. Looking at the connectors, a couple of the connections, maybe a little bit questionable looking. I don't see any evidence of cracking. I mean, I've been looking at this pretty close, inspecting it, and I don't see any obvious bad connections in here. Maybe pin 1, but other than that, I mean, it looks good. Maybe try to reflow that connector. That's the one that drives the Capstan motor. This is the drive IC here. So this is where all the speed and everything is set. Well, the Capstan servo is up here, but the drive IC is here for the Capstan motor. And again, I don't see anything that's bad. Any connections that are obviously bad. Like sometimes you'll see ones and they're just, you tell by looking at them, you can see them cracked. But I don't see any here that look to be particularly bad. But something's going on, because it plays for a while and then it just stops and goes into shutdown. If you look down on the board here, it looks like maybe 1 or 2 of these caps has been leaking. Maybe this one here or this one. You can see some gunge right down here. If I can get my light in there, it might make it easier. Might make it more difficult to see on camera, but it looks like there's some gunge right down in here. Right down in there. And if I look at the other side of this board here, this cap looks like it's been leaking. C3 looks like it's been leaking. Maybe, and that's where I was looking before, where it looked like there was some crap on the board, like right here, like right in this area here, which you guys can't see on camera. There, now you can. But like right in this area right here, that cap might be bad. I'm going to change that one out. It looks like it's leaking. It looks like that one's been leaking. We'll take that one out and take a look at it and just see what it looks like. But I mean, maybe this has got bad craps on it. I mean, mine's full of bad craps. That's why mine's still sitting. I gotta do something about the lighting in here too. My little light that I had, I've got another one here, but the little stand that I had broke. It just fell right off. It just snapped off and fell off the bench. So I grabbed another one and put an LED in it, but it's not nearly as versatile as the other one, because it's bigger and it just doesn't get to where it needs to go as easily. C3, this one here. This is the one I suspect may be the one that's leaking. Just from the look of the gunge on the board here. This one is not leaking, but I think it's the one next to it. So let's just check that one. The one that's leaking a little bit is actually C22, not C23. You can see, if you look at the bottom of it here, you can see where it's been leaking. That's a 1000 microfarad. We're going to change that one out. That one went right here. You can see it's right next to this one. You can see the where it's leaked onto the board there. We're going to swap that one out. That is in the Capstan servo in the reference. So ultimately, if that, I mean, it's leaking, so obviously the ESR is probably creeping up on this one. Let's just check it and see. But it's obviously bad because it's leaking. The ESR on this is measuring 0.08. For 1000 at 0.09 is the limit, and it's measuring 0.08. So I mean, it's right there. It's starting to creep up. So if we look here on the meter, but regardless of the ESR, now it's measuring 0.1, so it is out of spec. But yeah, that one's leaking. So we'll swap that one out and see whether that solves the problem with it intermittently stopping like that. Because it is in the Capstan servo circuit. As you can see here, Capstan servo. That cap is right in that servo circuit in one of the regulators. So yeah, a little bit of ripple getting through there, and that certainly could cause some issues, that's for sure. So I got a new one. Gotta make sure I get it in the right way. Where are we here? Okay, positive is towards the machine. And there's negative. I cleared the hole out with my suction tool. Works pretty good. All right, let's solder that one in, and then I'm not going to put the bottom on it for now. I'm going to just set it over, like set it upright, and let it work. And yes, I did clean up the gunge left from the electrolytic that leaks, including around that IC, which I pointed out with the big red arrow. That's been all cleaned up. Okay, let's test it. Hopefully no smoke. Okay, it's playing. I guess we'll let it play, see what happens. I think I've got it. This thing wouldn't play more than like 3 to 4 minutes. It's been going 20. Well, they continue to play here, but I think I've got it. Now, for you guys playing along at home, I changed out that one leaking cap in the, I guess it's the power for the Capstan servo, and I cleaned up the board. I didn't show you that part. Also didn't show you cleaning out the holes on the board with the vacuum pump, but trust me, I did it. And I cleaned up the remnants of the crap from the cap that was on the board. And that's all I've done. And put it back on and let it play. So at this point, I'm pretty confident I got it. So unless something else changes, I'm going to end the video now. And if something else pops up, then we'll continue on. But I'm pretty confident. It's been going 22 minutes now since I did that. Pretty confident that the problem's been solved. I am going to let this thing play. I'm going to let this thing play for the rest of the night, and probably for the next couple days, because I'm not doing any work in the shop for a bit. I'm going back to work tomorrow, so I only work in the shop on my days off, and today's Thursday. And I go back to work tomorrow, so typically I don't do anything here at least until Sunday, so this will sit here running. Okay, it's finished playing the tape all the way to the end. It rewound itself automatically. I'm starting it now for its second run. It's a 2-hour tape, but I have full confidence that it made it through the entire tape without stopping, which it didn't do before. So this one's done. And it's still going. It's been going now about 1 hour and 50 minutes on the second pass. I already did a full 2-hour tape, rewound it, started it again. As you can see, it's been going now, let's say 1 hour and 50 minutes on the second pass. I'm going to continue to run this machine over the weekend. Just keep running it over and over and over again. Make sure everything stays good on it. But yeah, I'd have to say this one is now complete. And everything's working properly as it's supposed to. We'll catch you in the next one. Thanks for watching.